Chapter 1046. It's done, thank you, Qin Chu replied distantly. Then he quietly picked up food for Huamin. He took care of her meticulously. Then Suyu raised his glass in disdain and said, "Come, mermaid princess, let me toast you." "I'm sorry, I can't drink too much. I'm allergic to alcohol." Song Yisher smiled as she rejected Suyu's toast. Huasiqian stood up from his seat and walked over, regardless of whether Song Yisher was willing or not. He put his arm around her shoulder and took a selfie from behind her. Then he posted it on Weibo. The entire process took less than 10 seconds. Song Yisher didn't even have time to resist. "President Hua. He's really interesting. He came out of nowhere and scared me." Song Yisher smiled awkwardly. Mo Shuiga looked at her and sneered, "President Hua has always been like this. You'll have to get used to it." At this moment Huasiqian also posted on Weibo, "I bumped into the song goddess at a party. She's really beautiful. Out of all the villains she's such a gentle and cute character. What a weirdo." Then a smart fan immediately asked, "President Hua, are you a high-level hater?" Huasiqian smiled and didn't respond. Then Jiang Shaowei suggested, "Let's play a game." "Sure, how do we play?" Zhu Lingling was a very curious person. As expected, she was very cooperative with Jiang Shaowei. "There's a popular phrase on a certain forum. It goes like this: I still like you a lot, just like XXXXX. You can fill in whatever you want. Then we'll choose someone who's really good and they'll perform. What do you think?" "Sure." Gao Ran nodded. He thought it would be fun. Everyone else also nodded in agreement. "Shaowei, since you suggested it, you should go first." Humin chuckled. "Alright, then I'll start first. Everyone." After that, Jiang Shaowei cleared her throat and looked at Wei Liao seriously. "I still like you very much. You're like the sun, the moon, and the stars forever." Wei Liao looked at Jiang Shaowei with a gentle gaze, and the two of them instantly began to torture Petey. "Wei Liao, you name one." "The two of you will be facing each other," Suyu suggested. Wei Liao also looked at Jiang Shaowei and replied almost without hesitation, "I still like you very much. You're like blood spilling onto the earth. I'm cold and you're beautiful." After saying this, Dr. Jiang, who had always been strong, actually blushed. Everyone joined in the commotion. Io, so sweet. "Gao Ran, you do it." Huamin nodded. Gao Ran was slightly nervous. Then he looked at Zhu Lingling across from him shyly. "I still like you very much. You're like a noisy secret, thousands of words." Everyone immediately clapped. They didn't think that as a police officer he would be so eloquent and eloquent. "Lingling, it's your turn." Huamin was looking forward to what Lingling, who had always been carefree, was going to say. Zhu Lingling thought hard for 10 seconds. Finally she had an idea. She pointed at Gao Ran and said, "I still like you very much. You're like a shrew, unreasonable." After she said this, everyone burst into laughter. "Zhu Lingling, you did it on purpose, didn't you?" Gao Ran sweated profusely. Who would confess like this? He was so poetic just now, but her words instantly lowered his level. "I think I'm done. Aren't you guys forcing me to say something beyond my ability? Everyone knows that I'm not very eloquent and can't even compare to you straight students. So it's already good that I can say it. Humin, hurry up, you and Mr. Qin do one." Humin won, Humin won. Everyone clapped and cheered. Humin smiled and looked at Qin Chu. Chapter 1047. Huamin thought for a moment and blurted out, "I still like you a lot. The willows move and the cicadas cry, the sun sets and the tide, I can't control myself." "Good." Gao Ran led the way and applauded Huamin. "My little sister is so artistic. Even her words are so beautiful," Huasiqian commented as he held a glass of red wine in his hand. Before anyone could call his name, Qin Chu looked at Huamin lovingly and replied, "I still like you a lot. You're like the stars that travel through the night for billions of years without a single complaint." "Holy shit, that's awesome, so magnificent." Gao Ran and Wei Liao both gave Qin Chu a thumbs up. "Niyang, you do one." Huamin smiled at Niyang. "I still like you a lot. You're like the rain falling from the clouds, drizzling bit by bit," Niyang said. Sister Ingzi immediately said, "A young lady, I won't join in the fun. I really don't know how to." "Then Shuer will do it." Huamin tilted his head and looked at Mo Shui. She elegantly put down her chopsticks and looked at Huasiqian affectionately. "I still like you a lot. You're like the petals that fall all over the ground, leaving no gaps. I still like you a lot." You're like the yellowed bridge in the old story, half deaf and half mute, Huasiqian immediately replied before anyone could call his name. Just then Wei Liao looked at Suyu. Lord Su, it's your turn. He lowered his head and didn't look at Song Yisher, who was sitting across from him. He slowly said, I still like you a lot. You're like the storm that passes through the sky. Not bad, everyone praised. Finally, Song Yisher was left. She tilted her head and looked at Qin Chu, who was not far away. Then she said gently, I still like you very much. You're like the wind traveling 8,000 miles without asking when you'll return. There was nothing wrong with what she had just said. But the problem was that no one liked her. She was the public enemy. When Jiang Shaowei heard what she said, she immediately smiled. What are you laughing at? Song Yisher looked at Jiang Shaowei with some displeasure. From the perspective of physics, if the wind travels 8,000 miles per hour, it will take at most 2 months. So, why don't you just change it to I still like you very much at most 2 months? After Jiang Shaowei finished speaking, everyone laughed in low voices. Song Yisher's expression immediately changed. She didn't expect that Jiang Shaowei wouldn't give her any face. She openly refuted her and rejected her. She was not someone to be trifled with, so she asked directly, Dr. Jiang, is there some misunderstanding between us? Misunderstanding? What misunderstanding? Do I know you that well? Jiang Shaowei asked nonchalantly. Song Yisher was immediately speechless. Ahem. Slightly, you should eat more. Wei Liao felt that it was quite awkward for his wife to argue with someone else. Okay, everyone, let's vote. Who said the best? Let's vote, the one with the most votes wins, Zhu Lingling suggested. I vote for Qin Chu, Gao Ran said. I vote for Huamin, Zhu Lingling said. In the end, everyone gave their opinions. After checking the votes, Huamin and Qin Chu had the highest votes. Huamin had one more vote than Qin Chu. This was because Huasiqian and Suyu both voted for Huamin. So, Miss Huamin, please perform for us. After Jiang Shaowei finished speaking, everyone immediately applauded. Hey, I really don't know how to do anything, huh? Honey, do you want to sing for them? Qin Chu asked with a smile. I don't want to sing. I don't want to scare them. Huamin knew that she wasn't good at music and was often out of tune. Therefore she was very self-aware. Huh? There are 2 grand pianos in the living room. Sister Huamin, why don't you play for us? Anai Yang was very interested in the instruments and immediately suggested. Huh? Piano? I haven't played in a long time. Huamin smiled embarrassedly. It's okay, even if you play 2 tigers we won't mind. Gao Ran looked at Huamin and said with a smile. Huamin, why don't you play Reminiscences of Don Juan for us? I want to hear it. Song Yisher smiled. Reminiscences of Don Juan? It's one of the 10 most difficult piano pieces in the world. Miss Song, does your mother know that you're making things difficult for others? Jiang Shaowei coldly glanced at Song Yisher's face. But Huamin is a genius. She should know how to play it, right? Song Yisher was still smiling like a blooming flower, but her expression was infuriating. Chapter 1048. Without waiting for anyone else to speak, Song Yisher smiled and said, But Huamin, if you don't know how to play, no one will blame you. After all, you're not a professional musician and you've never studied abroad. It's normal that you haven't heard of Master Franz Liszt. Song Yisher felt that Huamin might not even know who Franz Liszt was, let alone play his classic Memories of Don Juan. Everyone present could tell that Song Yisher looked down on Huamin's education and erudition. Qin Chu frowned slightly. She stood up and was about to ask the guest to leave. However, Huamin pressed her shoulder to stop her husband from getting angry. Qin Chu saw that Huamin was very calm and knew that she knew what was going on. However, Qin Chu had never seen Huamin play the piano in all these years because she had very little contact with it. She was poor in the past, so she had never bought a piano. Later, when she grew up and studied medicine, she did not have the opportunity to learn. She might be able to play a normal song, but Memories of Don Juan was a song that was not difficult at all. Even a piano teacher would not be able to perform it smoothly, let alone a non-professional like Huamin. She laughed when that bitch Song Yisher said that she did not know Franz Liszt. Huamin stood up, calmly looked around the room and slowly said, Franz Liszt, full name Franz Liszt, born on October 22, 1811, is a famous Hungarian composer, a great romantic master and a piano genius. Memories of Don Juan, which was adapted from Mozart, is the most famous. Because of the long span of notes and the tight rhythm, very few people are willing to perform it. So far, only the top pianist in the country has played it once. Miss Song, you're my guest today, and as the host I will definitely fulfill your wish, but I have a request. What request? Song Yisher looked at Huamin in confusion. I want you to play with me. Do you dare? Huamin smiled provocatively. There were 2 tripod pianos in the living room, one black and one white. Huamin suggested that the 2 of them play together. Undoubtedly they wanted to compete. Everyone looked at Song Yisher, wondering if she would dare to accept the challenge. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Song Yisher had been learning the piano since she was a child, and she had never given up all these years. He had played Don Juan's Memories a few times, so he was full of confidence. I have a feeling that Huamin is going to torture bitch Song, Jiang Xiaowei said with a smile. Zhu Lingling also cheered for Huamin. Huamin, don't embarrass yourself. Although she didn't understand any piano music, she believed that Huamin wasn't called a genius for nothing, right? Song Yisher got up and sat down beside the white piano in her dazzling fishtail dress. Huamin came to the black piano in his black vampire costume. We'll start in 5 seconds. Do you have a problem with that? Huamin looked at Song Yisher. I have no problem with that. Anytime. Song Yisher's face was full of pride. Jiang Xiaowei had a selfish idea. She took out her phone and started recording. Huamin and Song Yisher silently chanted for 5 seconds. Then his fingers flew across the piano keys. The speed of his fingers was simply dazzling. And it was getting faster and faster. Song Yisher had just played a bar when she realized that not only did Huamin know how to play Franz Liszt's famous song, but he also seemed to be familiar with it. While she was distracted, her speed slowed down and Huamin overtook her. The rhythm was slightly disrupted. Song Yisher panicked and immediately chased after him. But no matter how hard she chased, she couldn't catch up. Huamin finished playing in one breath. She was still stuck at the end of the 3rd bar. Huamin didn't wait for her to get up. He stood up and bowed. Thank you, everyone. I've embarrassed myself. I've known her for so long, but I didn't know that she was a piano expert. Qinchu, did you know? Gao Ran looked at Qinchu and asked curiously. Chapter 1049. It's my first time hearing it too. Qinchu looked at Huamin gently. She was as serious as a little girl competing with Song Yisher in a huff. After she won, she smiled proudly as if she had returned to the competitive Huamin of her youth. I don't understand, but I know that our Mion won. Zhu Lingling made a peace sign. Isn't it a bit immoral for so many of us to bully one person? Wei Liao thought that it was a bad idea to bully Song Yisher with a group of people. She's a bitch, so she'll be punished, okay? If she didn't cause trouble, would Mion bully her? Jiang Xiaowei sneered. Su Yu was shocked. Ever since he was young, he had received all kinds of musical training, including piano, violin, and saxophone. During GK's 30-year anniversary, Su Yu performed a piano piece, playing and singing at the same time, and instantly gained countless fans. However, he didn't think that the old-fashioned and low-key Huamin would be so talented in music. She sang off-key, but the piano was so smooth. Did Huamin learn to play? Gao Ran was starting to doubt his life. He didn't. If I remember correctly, when she was in high school, the teacher taught her a few times in music class. She probably figured it out on her own. Zhu Lingling replied. Memories of Don Juan? You can't figure out such a difficult piano piece on your own, right? Gao Ran obviously didn't believe her. After I went to college, there was a performance at school. I studied it for a few days and wanted to perform at the New Year's Eve party. The party was suddenly cancelled, so I didn't perform. However, I remembered the melody. Huamin smiled. How long ago was that? Gao Ran was dumbfounded. Not long ago, when I was a sophomore. It was winter. In his 2nd year, Huamin was only 19 years old. Now he was 24 years old. 5 whole years had passed. Huamin could still vividly remember the piano lessons he had learned in the past few days. He had to admit that they were very, very powerful. After playing the Song Yisher stood up and retorted, "That's impossible. This song can't be memorized without at least 5 years of practice." Is that so? I'm sorry, but I only practiced for less than 5 days, Huamin said confidently. He was not bragging. She had only been learning for less than 5 days. Su Yu was a little shocked. As a music expert, he knew the difficulty of this piano piece. He also knew that even if he practiced for 5 years he might not be able to play Huamin so quickly and smoothly. Perhaps this was the so-called talent? Is Miss Song a sore loser? Zhu Lingling sneered. Song Yisher's expression immediately turned ugly. To be fair, let's find someone who knows music to judge. Miss Amo, you've been a singer for many years so you can be considered an expert. Why don't you be more objective? We don't want people to say that we're biased, Jiang Xiaowei suggested. Amo Schwecker turned around and looked at Huamin, then looked at Song Yisher. Then he smiled and said, to be honest, I can't play this piano piece by Master Franz Liszt, but I can listen to it. Miss Song does play well and I can tell that she's a professional at first glance. She's learned it before so the details are handled very well. As for Huamian, she plays very quickly and the rhythm is correct but the details are rough. However, Huamian isn't a professional, nor has she learned it before. For her who has only learned it for 5 days to play it like this, I think it's very scary. At least I've never met such an abnormal genius. After speaking, Amo Schwecker sat back down. Song Yisher returned to her seat unhappily. Then she looked at Qin Chu and asked, Qin Chu, you've been learning piano since you were 3 years old, so you should know more than anyone else here. Why don't you say something? Chapter 1050. Mian is very talented. Qin Chu was a man of few words and only said those 6 words. However, Song Yisher was slapped in the face. It was obvious that people only saw Huamin's performance. To be honest, Song Yisher's playing wasn't bad either. However, when it came to Huamin, she was indeed crushed. Huamin only learned for 5 days while she had learned for 20 years. The difference wasn't small. My Huamin is the legendary person who specializes in crushing her opponents, right? She's too scary. And I Yang laughed. I was just playing casually, don't take it seriously. Come, let's continue eating. Huamin, on the other hand, was satisfied. After crushing Song Yisher, she was in a good mood. She wasn't the one who started it, but Song Yisher insisted on mentioning Franz Liszt's piano piece. Otherwise, she really only wanted to play a simple Christmas song for everyone. How nice would that be? Why did she have to be so pretentious? Honey, are you tired? Qin Chu grabbed Huamin's hand and placed it in his palm. Then he carefully rubbed it. Huamin picked up the glass of red wine with her other hand and took a big gulp. She was indeed quite tired after playing it in one go. Jiang Xiaowei lowered her head and posted the video on her Weibo. The caption said, "Our 2 pianists are competing, please comment." Then not only did this video go viral on Weibo, within an hour, it went viral on all the major media outlets. Many piano experts jumped out to comment. Only Song Yisher's brainless fan continued to say blindly, "My goddess is still the winner. Goddess, you're the best. You're beautiful and everything you do is reasonable. Huamin is no match for you." Then some passers-by couldn't stand it anymore and directly replied to Song Yisher's brainless fan, "When did you become blind?" One of the most famous comments was this: "The girl in black's piano technique is not correct, and her sitting posture is not very right. She is obviously a layman, but a layman can quickly play the most difficult piano piece of Master Liszt. This person is amazing. If she wants to learn well, her attainments will be very high." Many famous musicians didn't know who Huamian and Song Yisher were, so they described them as white clothes and black clothes. Most people did not comment on Song Yisher and directly ignored her. Because Huamin's performance was too shocking, there were even a few piano masters who directly asked for Huamin's contact on Weibo, wanting to take him in as a disciple. Then a fan who understood the truth said, "Accept a disciple? You may be willing, but are they willing? She's the chief physician of Southside's neurology department and a young lady of GK. Why would she be so bored as to learn piano? Wake up, it's okay to dream for a while. If you keep dreaming, then it's wrong." Jiang Xiaowei also did not think that this short video would cause such a huge chain reaction. After Song Yisher saw Weibo, she exploded in anger. She directly asked Jiang Xiaowei, "Who told you to selfishly post this on Weibo? Did you ask me? Friends are gathering to learn from each other. It's not something shameful. Why can't I post it? Why should I ask you? I didn't mean to slander you. Those words were said by the netizens, not me. What's the point of asking me?" Jiang Xiaowei directly pushed all the blame onto her. Song Yisher was so angry that her face turned pale. She suddenly felt that she shouldn't have come to this party today. Not only did she not receive Qin Chu's special treatment, but she also did not receive any special treatment from him. She was also ruined by everyone. Huamin, is this how you treat your guests? Song Yisha couldn't out-talk Jiang Shaowei, so she directly targeted Huamin. Huamin picked up a piece of steak and was just about to eat. However, when he heard what Song Yisha said, he put it down. Then he replied with an extremely innocent look, "How am I treating my guests? Did I make you thirsty or hungry? Did you not eat the steak? Did you not drink the red wine? Did I not greet you when you came in?" Chapter 1051. Song Yisha used to think that other than being smart, Huamin was easy to deal with because Huamin rarely bullied her. She really thought that Huamin was a pushover, so she kept showing off. But in reality, Huamin wasn't weak. Jiang Shaowei's analysis was right. Huamin just didn't want to talk to her. Huamin's life motto had always been, if a dog bites you, you can't bite back. So he rarely fought with others. So she didn't say anything harsh to Song Yisha before, but Song Yisha became more and more arrogant. Now Huamin's words made Song Yisha speechless, making her lose face. Huamin was right. If you want to come to my party, fine, I'll let you come. But you broke the rules and dressed up as a mermaid to steal the limelight. That's fine too. You said you wanted to play the piano, so I played with you. Now that you're being attacked, you're trying to slander me. That's your fucking fault. I'm feeding you, drinking you, and playing with you. In the end, you're saying that I don't treat my guests well enough. What are you trying to do? Miss Song is the mayor's daughter. She's from a wealthy family. Maybe she's not suitable to play with us. People who walk different paths can't make plans together. If that's the case, Miss Song, why don't you leave? You don't want to disturb our mood. Zhu Lingling said this. She had been unhappy with Bitch Song for a long time, so she and Jiang Shaowei had been attacking her. Now that she had an excuse, she started to chase her away. Song Yisha's appearance was the biggest blemish of today's party. If she wasn't here, everyone would be in a better mood. Originally, they thought that after Zhu Lingling said this, Song Yisha would be shy and leave. However, the most shocking thing was that she didn't move at all. After 5 seconds of silence, she sneered and glanced at Zhu Lingling's face. Are you the owner of this place? What right do you have to kick him out? I did it for Huamin, so what? Zhu Lingling tilted her head and retorted. Why should Huamin replace you? Can't she say it herself? If it's Huamin who wants me to leave today, then fine, I'll leave. If it's not Qin Chu and Huamin, then everyone else, please shut up. Song Yisha was really going all out. She actually said something that disregarded her status. Of course, Qin Chu wanted to kick her out, but Huamin didn't want to fall out with her. If Song Yisha was kicked out today, then once she left South Hill Manor, who knew how she would slander them and complain about her grievances? So Huamin smiled and said, forget it. Since you're all here, let's have fun. I, Huamin, haven't mistreated anyone. I hope that everyone can respect each other and stop causing trouble. Huamin's words stopped everyone from arguing with Song Yisha. It was meaningless. At this time, everyone was almost done eating. There was only red wine left in their glasses. Gao Ran suggested, why don't we play Truth or Dare? Hey, that sounds good. Let's play. Zhu Lingling loved to kick up a fuss, especially when it came to Gao Ran's suggestion. Then everyone nodded in agreement. They all expressed their support for Gao Ran's idea. How do we play? Master, please tell us the rules. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin. Honey, go ahead. Perhaps it was because Huamin had a lot to drink, but she leaned her head on Qin Chu's shoulder and looked at him sweetly. Qin Chu didn't let his wife down. He thought for a moment and said, let's play rock, paper, scissors. One person can choose an opponent. Rock, paper, scissors will determine the winner. The loser can choose Truth or Dare. That's good. I'll go first. Jiang Shaowei was eager to try. Sure, Shaowei can go first. Who do you want to challenge? Huamin asked with a smile. Chapter 1052. You. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin and pointed at him. Huamin was speechless. Okay, let's do it. Then it was rock, paper, scissors. Jiang Shaowei used paper while Huamin used rock. I can't believe I lost. Jiang Shaowei pouted. You shot yourself in the foot, didn't you? Huamin laughed. I'll choose Truth, I'm afraid I can't do Dare. Jiang Shaowei accepted her punishment as she rubbed her round belly. Let me think, what should I ask? Huamin thought hard. Truth or Dare usually asked tough questions, so she decided to prank Shaowei. Suddenly she had an idea and asked in all seriousness, "How many times a night do you and Wei Liao do it?" After she asked this question, everyone burst out laughing. Even Suyu couldn't help but laugh. He thought to himself, "Huamin, do you really want to play Jiang Shaowei to death?" Wei Liao immediately looked away, not daring to look at his wife. He covered his face with his hands, embarrassed. It didn't feel good to talk about private matters in front of so many people. However, it wasn't Huamin's fault. His wife was too cocky and challenged Huamin right off the bat, but she lost miserably. "Ahem, twice," Jiang Shaowei answered shyly. "Oh, really?" Zhu Lingling obviously didn't believe her. "Of course it's true. At our age, doing it twice a night is already very frequent, okay?" Jiang Shaowei laughed. "Twice a night and you got pregnant so quickly. I have to say the hit rate is pretty high," he said. Jiang Shaowei immediately rolled her eyes at Suyu. "Don't gloat over my misfortune. Although I'm cannon fodder, you guys will also have a good time, huh?" Jiang Shaowei pointed at the people around her and laughed. "You passed. Who do you want to challenge next, Huamin?" Zhu Lingling looked at Huamin and asked. I choose Gao Ran." Huamin smiled maliciously. "Why do I feel like you've been planning this for a long time?" Gao Ran looked at Huamin's smug smile and felt a chill in his heart. "It's okay, don't be scared. Maybe she'll lose and you'll be able to make a comeback," Zhu Lingling comforted. Rock, paper, scissors. Gao Ran and Jiang Shaowei both used paper while Huamin used scissors. "Oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Didn't you see Shaowei use paper? She already lost, why are you still using paper?" Zhu Lingling complained. "I know, I thought Huamin wouldn't expect me to use paper." Gao Ran thought he was smart. "You're too smart for your own good," Hua Xiqian said casually. In the end, Gao Ran could only lower his head and admit defeat. "Truth or dare?" Huamin asked. "Dare, I'm scared that you'll ask something mean, so I choose dare," Gao Ran said without hesitation. "Ahem. Listen up, please kiss the woman sitting across from you for 1 minute. The countdown starts now." As soon as Huamin finished speaking, the entire room went crazy. Qin Chu lovingly patted Huamin's head. "Honey, you're so mean." "That's what I'm playing with," Huamin said proudly. She had been plotting this for a long time and Gao Ran finally fell for it. Who was Huamin? How could he lose to her in rock, paper, scissors? She was the best at psychological tactics. She knew that Gao Ran would think he was smart enough to do something strange with Jiang Shaowei, so she was prepared to set him up. Can we change it?" Gao Ran looked at Zhu Lingling and gulped. He wanted to kiss her too. He wanted to kiss her, but what if he did? Wouldn't Zhu Lingling kill him? "Girl, you're so mean." Zhu Lingling's face was also red. "Hurry up, don't waste time," Huamin urged impatiently. "Good luck." Jiang Shaowei picked up a fruit salad and ate happily. Compared to Gao Ran, Huamin was really kind to her. "Okay?" Helpless, Gao Ran stood up, adjusted his collar and strode towards Zhu Lingling. "Fuck? What are you doing? Are you really going to do that to me?" Zhu Lingling was scared out of her wits. She really couldn't bring herself to kiss him in front of so many people. Chapter 1053. Just then Gao Ran walked over and whispered into Zhu Lingling's ear. "Don't be nervous, I'm just pretending to kiss you. They won't be able to tell." While Zhu Lingling was still in a daze, Gao Ran cupped her face and kissed her. Since his back was facing everyone, he really was pretending to kiss her. However, looking at him from such a close distance, Zhu Lingling still felt weird and embarrassed. Just as she was about to say something, Gao Ran suddenly kissed her and bit her lips. He was so gentle that Zhu Lingling felt her mind go blank. She didn't even have the ability to think. Ouch, ouch. Everyone was cheering and clapping behind them. It looked like a wedding. After a minute, Gao Ran reluctantly let go of Zhu Lingling. Slap. Zhu Lingling slapped him. "Damn it, didn't you say you were pretending to kiss me?" I couldn't control myself. Gao Ran scratched the back of his head and giggled. Everyone burst into laughter. "Ah, Lingling, you're so innocent. Would you believe a man who told you that he was pretending to kiss you? Do you think men usually tell women, 'Don't worry, I'll just put it at the door and won't go in'? Is that true?" Jiang Shaowei boldly said something dirty, making everyone laugh. Wei Liao kept reminding his wife, "Honey, please be mindful of your status. You're a doctor." "So what if I'm a doctor? Do doctors not have sex? Then how did I get pregnant?" Jiang Shaowei's question made Wei Liao feel embarrassed. Everyone burst into laughter again. Only Song Yisha rolled her eyes at Jiang Shaowei and cursed under her breath. Vulgar woman. It was a good thing that Jiang Shaowei didn't hear her, or else it would have been another world war. Zhu Lingling had already hit her and Gao Ran had already kissed her. So this matter was over. Then Gao Ran became the next sponsor and surprisingly he chose Qin Chu. Do you want to take revenge? Huamin leaned in Qin Chu's arms and asked coquettishly. Of course not. Am I such a petty person? Gao Ran retorted. You are. Qin Chu and Huamin said in unison. Alright, congratulations. He guessed right. I want revenge. Gao Ran laughed wildly. Then he exerted all his strength and began to play rock, paper, scissors with Qin Chu. The result was very sad. Gao Ran used the scissors while Qin Chu used the rock. In the end, Qin Chu won. Idiot, why did you use the scissors? Zhu Lingling was worried for him. Because Huamin used the scissors to win every battle. Gao Ran's forehead was covered in cold sweat. You're not Huamin. Why did you use the scissors? I'm worried for your intelligence. Zhu Lingling was speechless. Honey, you're the best. Huamin clapped her hands and cheered for Qin Chu. Truth or dare? Qin Chu stared at Gao Ran and asked with a smile. Truth. Gao Ran learned his lesson after being played by Huamin. He was afraid that Qin Chu, the big pervert, would ask him to give him another wet kiss. He wanted to kiss him. However, if he got slapped by Zhu Lingling again, he wouldn't be able to show his face in front of others. Out of all the women here, who do you like? Qin Chu asked decisively. Gao Ran felt even more awkward. Can't you fucking change to someone else? He didn't dare to confess to Zhu Lingling because he was afraid of being rejected. If he said it in front of so many people and got rejected, how could he survive? Hurry up and answer, Huamin urged with a smile. Everyone looked at Gao Ran as if they already knew the answer, but he didn't dare to say it. Zhu Lingling awkwardly held the red wine and pretended to drink it calmly. Then she heard Gao Ran say, Zhu Lingling. Hey, not bad, you have good taste. Huamin smiled. Zhu Lingling immediately lowered her head. She wanted to find a hole in the ground to hide in. Qin Chu and Huamian were the originators of black-bellied schemes. They didn't even have to pay for it. Zhu Lingling thought that if she and Gao Ran continued like this, they would break down. Just then Gao Ran completed his mission. Huamin smiled at Qin Chu. Honey, you choose your opponent. Huasiqian, Qin Chu calmly said as he looked at the man not far away who was smiling silently. Huamin froze. He didn't expect Qin Chu to pick him either. Chapter 1054. I'm a little surprised. I didn't think my brother-in-law would pick me. Huasiqian slowly stood up and picked up a wet towel to wipe his hands like a gentleman. Qin Chu looked at him with a complicated expression. Then the two men walked up to each other and threw their fists at each other. Surprisingly, Huasiqian lost. Qin Chu won again. Huasiqian used rock while Qin Chu used paper. There was no evidence, no psychological warfare, it was pure luck. Unfortunately, I won. Qin Chu seemed to have known that he would win. Truth or dare? Qin Chu asked. Truth. Huasiqian was a cautious person, so he wouldn't choose dare so easily. Truth was the most difficult part and he could only answer a question. Dare, on the other hand, meant that he would never know what his opponent would ask him to do. Therefore he chose dare without even thinking about it. Same question as before. Out of all the women, who do you like? Qin Chu stared into Huasiqian's eyes and asked. Huasiqian licked his lips and smiled meaningfully. His sister was really interesting. She must have done it on purpose, right? It seemed like it was premeditated as well. Huamin was slightly surprised. He looked up at Huasiqian. She didn't know why, but she felt a little scared. She had a feeling that their duel had something to do with her. Mo Schweger, who was drinking red wine, paused for a moment. Then she slowly sipped her wine, but her heart was in a mess. Suyu looked at Qin Chu and then at Huasiqian. He seemed to have understood what was going on. After 3 seconds of hesitation, Huasiqian pointed at the person across from him and said, without a doubt, it's Schweyer. Mo Schweyer put down her wine glass and smiled. It was a very sweet smile. Huamin also seemed to be relieved. Huasiqian didn't tell the truth. He went against the rules and chose to lie. However, Qin Chu didn't expose him. He didn't want to expose him. He just wanted to give him a little psychological pressure and let him know that he knew what he was thinking. Qin Chu stared into his eyes for a while before finally saying, it's your turn to choose. I choose Lord Su. Hua Xiqian didn't even think about it. Suyu slowly got up. Being called out by Hua Xiqian made him feel rather displeased. In fact, it was as if he had a premeditated plan against him. Everyone here had their own ulterior motives. The people they wanted to challenge, the things they wanted to do, and the questions they wanted to ask were all different. After a round of rock paper scissors, Suyu lost. Hua Xiqian used the scissors and Suyu used the paper. It was still a matter of luck. Truth or dare? Truth. Suyu was also a cautious person. His reasoning was the same as Hua Xiqian's. Whose picture is on your screensaver? Hua Xiqian asked a question that he already knew the answer to. He already knew that Hua Xiqian had a picture on his screensaver, but he still asked in front of so many people. At this moment, everyone looked at Suyu and I Yang Mo Shui Ingzi, and the others didn't know that Suyu's screensaver was a picture of someone. Qin Chu Huamin, Gao Ran Zhu Lingling Wei Liao Xiaowei and even Song Yisher knew about Suyu's feelings for Huamin. However, Huamin didn't know about the screensaver before. Therefore, when he heard Hua Xiqian's question, he really panicked. Qin Chu looked at Hua Xiqian with disdain. He was purposely making things difficult for Hua Xiqian. However, Hua Xiqian passed the problem to Suyu and vented his anger on Suyu. Suyu was silent for 3 seconds. Then he opened his mouth. Everyone held their breaths and waited for Suyu's answer. Chapter 1055. Suyu said word for word, I can't answer this question, so I choose dare. As soon as he said this, the entire room went into an uproar. If you didn't want to answer a truth question, you could choose dare. There was indeed such a rule. Hua Xiqian smiled proudly. Drink an entire bottle of red wine in one go. You have 30 seconds. Aren't you being a little too hard? Wei Liao was a little angry. Red wine was already strong and drinking it in one go was already hard enough. 30 seconds? Wasn't he purposely toying with Suyu? Lord Su, can't you take it? Hua Xiqian looked at Suyu and asked with a smile. I accept. Suyu nodded, indicating that he accepted Hua Xiqian's dare. Lord Su. Wei Liao seemed a little worried. Suyu. Ever since Jiang Xiaowei got together with Wei Liao, she also treated Suyu as a friend. Therefore it was normal for the couple to be worried. This red wine isn't the kind that costs a few thousand yuan. It's very strong, or else you wouldn't have drunk it all in one go. Huamin pleaded for Suyu, which was rare of her. She also felt that this request was a little too hard. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He didn't care about the relationship between Suyu and Hua Xiqian. However, even though everyone said this, Suyu still wanted to save face. He couldn't tell everyone that he was the only one on his screensaver who accepted this challenge. Suyu picked up the red wine in front of him, tilted his head back and gulped it down in one go. Hua Xiqian looked at his watch. It seemed like he was calculating the time. Time's up, Hua Xiqian yelled out. Suyu had just finished his red wine. Song Yisher laughed and clapped her hands in schadenfreude. Young Master Su, you're such a good drinker. The way Jiang Xiaowei looked at Song Yisher seemed to be saying, fuck you. Huamin looked at Suyu worriedly. If he had known that Suyu would be put in a difficult position, he would not have invited Suyu. Huamin didn't like Suyu, but he didn't want to make things difficult for him. After all, he had lent a helping hand to her and Qin Chu when they were on the brink of death. There weren't many men like him in this world. Suyu was a real man, an honest and upright man. It's finished. Suyu sighed and said softly. After saying that, he couldn't help but get up and rush to the bathroom, vomiting crazily. The red wine was too strong. Even with his high alcohol tolerance, he felt a little dizzy. Is he okay? Jiang Xiaowei looked at him worriedly. Huamin got up and went to the kitchen to pour a glass of warm water for Suyu. Thank you. Suyu took the warm water and drank it in one gulp. He seemed to feel a little better. If you can't drink, then don't choose dare. Even if you answer the truth, no one will laugh at you. Huamin looked at Suyu and said in all seriousness. Suyu looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. He only felt that her face was a little blurry. Perhaps it was because of the alcohol, but after standing for a while he slowly replied, I'm afraid that they'll laugh at you. Huamin's body trembled, as if she was shocked by Suyu's words. Who would have thought that an arrogant person like Suyu would think for others? She had to admit that she was shocked. She also indirectly verified one thing, and that was that she was Suyu's screensaver. After being stunned for a while, Huamin slowly replied, Suyu, we? Oh, don't say any more. I know that between us, it's impossible. You have Chin Chu and you love him a lot. You're willing to die for him, I understand. You don't have to say it to me, I understand. Suyu interrupted Huamin and said everything that she wanted to say. For the first time Huamin felt speechless. Don't worry. I won't cause you any trouble. I just want to silently like you. Silently like you. After speaking, Suyu smiled bitterly and staggered out of the bathroom. Next I choose Wei Liao. Suyu continued to call out names and played truth or dare with them. Huamin stood in the same spot, thinking about Suyu's words and feeling very uncomfortable. In the end, everyone called out names except for Song Yisher. She sat there awkwardly. In the end she couldn't take it anymore, so she stood up and said, Chin Chu, can I choose to play rock, paper, scissors with you? Chapter 1056. Before Chin Chu could refuse, Huamin came back from the washroom. My husband won't play with you. If you want to have fun, I can play with you, okay? Song Yisher looked at Huamin provocatively. This woman won't turn back until she hits the wall. After being played by Huamin, she still wants to hit the wall. He's so cheap. There are 3 levels in the sword manual: top, middle, and bottom. I'm speechless that she chose the bottom. Zhu Lingling was good at scolding people. After hearing what she said, Gao Ran chuckled. So you're saying that she's cheap? Gao Ran asked in a low voice. Zhu Lingling ignored Gao Ran. She seemed to still be angry about the wet kiss just now. The game of rock, paper, scissors began and Huamian won instantly. She was basically an expert in this game. She could guess what you were going to play just by looking at your expression. Song Yisher and Gao Ran were the same. They lost because they thought they were smart. Truth or dare? Huamin let her choose. Truth. She was looking forward to Huamin asking her who she liked. Then she could confidently confess to Chin Chu. If she confessed to Chin Chu in front of so many people, Huamin would be furious, right? That was what she thought. Do you know the meaning of truth? You have to tell the truth. So you have to swear before I ask. How do I swear? Song Yisher asked with a dark expression. It means that if you lie, you'll be punished. Huamin looked at her and replied. Okay, I, Song Yisher, swear that I'm telling the truth. If I lie, I'll kill my parents and my whole family. In order to confess to Chin Chu, she was going all out. Bitch Song is dead meat this time. He fell into Huamin's trap, Jiang Xiaowei was overjoyed. However, she knew Huamin very well. Huamin was definitely up to something. However, Song Yisher didn't realize it and even set another trap for himself. This time he really couldn't lie. Otherwise his entire family would die. What a terrifying curse. That's enough, right? Ask away. Song Yisher said proudly. When was your first night? Huamin asked calmly. Upon hearing this question, Song Yisher's face turned green. She never thought that Huamin would ask such a harsh question. She had always pretended to be a goddess, but her virginity was really gone, lost in Italy. And it was a one-night stand with a middle-aged man. It wasn't with her boyfriend in Italy, so how could she say it out loud? Huamin asked about the time, which was actually 10 years ago. At the time she was only 16 years old. Because she lived in Italy for a long time, she matured early and didn't think there was anything wrong with it. The problem was she didn't want to admit it in front of Chin Chu. If she did, Chin Chu wouldn't have a good impression of her. So she stuttered for a long time. Miss Song, do you want to answer? Huamin asked calmly with his arms crossed. Should I choose dare? In the end, Song Yisher took the risk and chose not to answer the truth, just like Suyu did. Are you sure? Huamin asked with a smile. I'm sure. Song Yisher was ready to go all out. Chin Chu didn't look at her the entire time because to him, Song Yisher was no more than a passerby. She had been trying so hard to maintain her goddess image in front of Chin Chu. However, Mr. Chin had only had one goddess since he was young, and her name was Huamin. Ah, see. I told you, bitch Song is going to be played to death by Mian. Jiang Xiaowei mumbled excitedly as she tugged on Wei Liao's sleeve. Wei Liao kept comforting his wife. Don't be impulsive, honey. You're pregnant, calm down. Mian, hurry up and make your request. Miss Song chose dare. Zhu Lingling reminded Huamian, gloating over her misfortune. It seemed like everyone was waiting for Huamin to make a request that would shock the hell out of bitch Song. Chapter 1057. Everyone thought that Huamin would take the opportunity to make some outrageous request, such as asking Song Yisher to kneel down and lick his shoes. However, Huamin was Huamin and he would never push someone to the brink. So, even though everyone was looking forward to it, he still chose a relatively simple request for Song Yisher. Sing the last line of the Tibetan Plateau, Huamin said faintly. Song Yisher was speechless. What the? That's so simple, Huamin, are you crazy? Zhu Lingling was clearly unhappy. Jiang Shaowei froze as well, as if she didn't expect Huamin's request to be so simple. However, she didn't say anything. She just quietly looked at Huamin. My little sister Mian is really merciful. It's so simple, Miss Song, why aren't you singing? Even Hua Xiqian thought that Huamin was being merciful, so he smiled at Song Yisher. She was wearing a noble mermaid princess dress, and her face was red as she stood up. Truth be told, she had studied pop music professionally, and she could even sing in 9 languages. However, she had never tried singing a song as ethnic as the Tibetan Plateau, nor had she ever sung that very high last line. Everyone looked at Song Yisher. Perhaps she realized that she had to do what she said, so after some thought she clenched her teeth and sang, that is, the Tibetan Plateau. When she reached the highest note, her voice broke. Even though Song Yisher sang it, it was still very unpleasant. It was like a ghost crying and a wolf howling. If it wasn't for the fact that she was a folk singer and her voice wasn't loud and clear, very few people could sing the last line of the Tibetan Plateau perfectly. Even though many celebrities had covered this song, Huamin still felt that the original singer, Li Na, sang it the best. She had a strong Tibetan accent. Song Yisher held her breath and finished singing. As expected, everyone looked at her mockingly. Then a shocking scene occurred. Song Yisher was actually crying. She stood there and sobbed softly. What are you doing? Are you a sore loser? Jiang Shaowei couldn't stand her pretentious attitude. She was such a bitch. I just feel that today was a bit embarrassing. Maybe you all have some misunderstandings about me, so you all don't really like me. Can tell. Since that's the case, I'll leave first. After speaking, Song Yisher walked out. She cried as she walked. None of the people in the room moved. No one wanted to have too much contact with someone like Song Yisher. Huamin didn't want to follow up and ask, because that would make him seem like a saint. He didn't like her in the first place, so why did he have to pretend to like her? Sometimes it was better to be simple between people. If it was too complicated, it would be uncomfortable. Honey, do you want the chauffeur to drive her home? Huamin looked at Qin Chu. No need, it's better that she's gone. After speaking, Qin Chu looked around. Seeing that everyone was drinking to their heart's content, he nodded and whispered a few words into Uncle Li's ear. Not long after, Uncle Li came out with another box of red wine. This time it was even better than the one before. Huamin, why didn't you teach bitch Song a lesson? It was a perfect opportunity for revenge. Jiang Shaowei didn't hesitate to call Song Yisher a bitch in front of everyone. No one was surprised. They seemed to think that Jiang Shaowei was right. To be honest, I have my own selfish motives. I wanted to vent my anger, but if I did that, I would become like her. I don't want to do that. I can't lose my principles for my own selfish reasons, Huamin said faintly. Chapter 1058. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin with admiration. You're so broad-minded and magnanimous. It's not appropriate to not forgive your enemy, but you also wouldn't take the initiative to set her up. You're so righteous, I think many men can't compare to you. Jiang Shaowei was full of praise for Huamin. Wei Liao often thought that it was a good thing that Jiang Shaowei and Huamin were both women. If one of them was a man and the other was a woman, there probably wouldn't be anything between him and Qin Chu. The two of them would be a couple. After Song Yisher left, the atmosphere seemed to be better. Mo Schwerer and Ni Yang both sang their new songs. Gao Ran showed off his dart skills. He was very good, as expected of the good cop of the people. Everyone chatted and played as they ate. No one seemed to be unhappy about Song Yisher's departure. Su Yu, on the other hand, seemed a little lonely. He was dressed as Lucifer, so it was destined that he would be unique today. The truth was, he didn't dress up as the fallen angel Lucifer to attract attention. He was different from Song Yisher. Song Yisher was the one who dressed up as a mermaid and pretended to be a princess purely to attract attention. He suddenly thought of Lucifer and felt sad. Then he felt that Lucifer was very similar to himself. He didn't think that it would cause such a big reaction. When it was time to take photos, Zhu Lingling and Jiang Shaowei both took photos with Su Yu with their phones. His black and gold wings were too awesome. They were unbelievably handsome, Mysterious, cold, and low-key, he wasn't in the immortal realm or the demon realm. He was just a lonely existence in the dark world. Jiang Shaowei felt that this identity was very suitable for Su Yu's current state of mind. He loved Huamin deeply but couldn't get her. However, they were all smart people. No one mentioned Su Yu and Huamin again. In the end, everyone drank until they were high. And Ai Yang sat in front of the piano and played a dance song. Everyone held their wine glasses and began to dance. Even Huamin, who had always been reserved, was having fun with Zhu Lingling. Su Yu, on the other hand, was quietly watching them from the side. He didn't know why, but he actually felt out of place in such a situation. At this time, Qin Chu walked over to Su Yu with a glass of red wine. "Thank you from the military doctor. I haven't had the chance to thank you." Qin Chu's voice was very calm. Just like Huamin, he never showed his emotions on his face. His face had a calmness that did not match his age. The black vampire costume made him look even more handsome and outstanding. Su Yu tilted his head and looked at Qin Chu. "You don't have to thank me. I didn't do it for you." "I know you didn't do it for me. I used to think that you liked Huamian because you couldn't get her or because you were curious. But now, that doesn't seem to be the case." Qin Chu never thought that he would one day be able to talk to Su Yu calmly. Moreover, they talked about his feelings for Huamin. "My feelings for Huamin? Forget it, there's nothing left. You're very lucky. Qin Chu, sometimes I'm so jealous of you that I'm going crazy. You only appeared a few years before me, and you already occupied her entire life. To be honest, I was scared out of my wits the day of your surgery. I didn't think about anything at that time. There was only one thought in my mind, and that was that I wanted Huamin to live. So, I'd rather you continue to live so that I can see her in perfect condition," Su Yu said in all seriousness. Qin Chu held his wine glass and didn't say anything. He just quietly looked at Huamin, who wasn't too far away. She was holding hands with Zhu Lingling and doing a funny bunny dance. She looked extremely cute as she hopped around. She had a smile on her face that girls her age should have. Huamin looked especially beautiful when she smiled. Because she looked very childish, it brought out the purest part of her heart. Qin Chu looked at her seriously, and Su Yu's gaze was extremely gentle. Two equally outstanding men both had their eyes on Huamin. No matter how much they looked at her, they couldn't get enough of her. Just then Su Yu said, "Don't relax. If you want to have her forever, you have to treat her well for the rest of your life. Otherwise, if you let her down, I'll definitely take her away from you," Su Yu threatened. Chapter 1059. You won't have the chance to make a move. Mian belongs to me in this life, the next life, and the life after that, Mr. Qin said proudly. Su Yu watched quietly without saying anything. He knew that Qin Chu loved Huamin dearly as well. He loved her so much that he was willing to sacrifice a lot. This wasn't something an ordinary person could accept. Su Yu once said that the kind of relationship he hated the most was childhood sweethearts. Because he appeared a few years later, he never had the chance to get involved. He didn't even have the chance to compete with Huamin. He felt like he had traveled back in time to his youth. Instead of joining the army, he went to second high school to get to know that arrogant girl. The lights in South Hill Manor were on the entire night and everyone played all night. They seemed to be in a good mood. From Christmas Eve to Christmas Day they welcomed a different holiday. At midnight, Uncle Lee acted like Santa Claus and pushed a cart out. There were many beautifully packaged peace fruits in the cart. Huamin casually picked up a peace fruit and handed it to Su Yu. "Here, it's almost the end of the year. I hope you'll be safe in the new year." Huamin gave Su Yu the best of wishes. She smiled at him. Su Yu slowly took the apple from Huamin's hand and didn't say anything. If he remembered correctly, this was the first real gift that Huamin gave him. His hands trembled slightly. Looking at the ordinary apple, he felt like his heart was heavy. "What? Do you think it's cheap?" Huamin asked with a smile. "No," Su Yu immediately explained. "I take it. There's a legend that if you eat a peace fruit you'll be safe forever. You're Lord Su, the richest man in the world. You don't lack money, you can have anything you want. I don't know what to give you for Christmas, so let's just eat apples." "Thank you." Su Yu held the apple tightly and thanked Huamin with mixed feelings. After that, Huamin distributed the fruits to everyone one by one. He took a fruit knife and cut one in half and gave it to Qin Chu. "Honey, from now on, as long as you're safe, I'm safe," Huamin said slowly. When Qin Chu heard Huamin's words of love, he was slightly moved. He took half of the apple and took a small bite. Huamin looked at Qin Chu happily as he ate. Even his smile was filled with sweetness. When Suyu saw this scene from the side, he only felt that his eyes were a little sour. I told you not to come to Qin Chu and Huamian's places in the future. Otherwise you'll be looking for trouble again. Wei Liao patted Suyu's shoulder from behind. It's okay. I've been tempered into steel. My heart is no longer made of glass. Then what is it? Wei Liao asked curiously. It's made of tempered glass, Suyu replied with a smile. Damn, isn't tempered glass still glass? It's the same as a bird, Wei Liao exclaimed with a smile. After Song Yisher left South Hill Manor, she didn't go home. Instead, she angrily drove to the Qin Manor. When she arrived, Lady Qin was putting on a face mask. Qin Yuman wasn't feeling well, so he had already gone to bed. Mrs. Qin. She walked over in a spoiled manner. Sure, it's so late. Why are you here? Lady Qin was surprised to see Song Yisher. Well, Mrs. Qin, I'm so useless. I've embarrassed you. Song Yisher suddenly started crying out of nowhere. Seeing Song Yisher like this, Lady Qin was dumbfounded. Chapter 1060. Although she didn't like Song Yisher and her mother because of Qin Chu, to be honest, they had known each other for years. Song Yisher had even lived here for a year when she was young, so she still liked her. Seeing her cry, Lady Qin immediately walked over and put her arm around her shoulders to comfort her. What's wrong, Shir? Who bullied you? Tell Mama Qin. Mama Qin. I'm so useless. I ruined Qin Chu's party. I know I'm an idiot, so I can't beat them at games. I keep embarrassing myself and even gave Huamin something to use against me. I know Huamin didn't do it on purpose, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I've never embarrassed myself like this before. Mama Qin, I'm sorry, Song Yisher said incoherently. In the end, she even apologized to Lady Qin, which made Lady Qin even more confused. Sure, don't cry. Can you tell me what happened? Song Yisher raised her head and looked at Lady Qin with tears in her eyes. Then she explained what happened. Mama Qin, isn't today Christmas Eve? Huamin and Qin Chu held a private party at South Hill Manor and invited me. But I was too naive and thought wrong. I dressed up as a mermaid and pissed them off. Huamin's friends ganged up on me, but I didn't mind. After all, I went because of Qin Chu. But later they said something to Qin Chu and Qin Chu ignored me. In the end, they even played a perverted game to embarrass me. Maybe it's because I just came back to China that I'm not used to prank games. What game? Lady Qin asked curiously. Huamian was the one who asked me outrageous questions. She even made me swear that if I lied, my parents and my whole family would die. What? That's outrageous? Lady Qin's face darkened. Maybe Huamin didn't do it on purpose. Maybe he did it for the entertainment effect of the game? Song Yisher cried. No matter what the effect is, you can't use your parents as entertainment. No, I have to ask her. Then Lady Qin picked up the phone and was about to call Huamian. Mama Qin, Song Yisher, I don't want to do it. It's okay for me to suffer, but if your relationship with Huamian becomes strained because of me, then I'll be a sinner. I don't want you guys to do that. Huamian's, Mian. Lady Qin felt a little heartbroken a little bit. Because you are, because you're Mian. If I don't think for you, who else should I think for? It's okay, Mama Qin, you should go to sleep. I just wanted to talk to you because I felt uncomfortable. Please don't take it to heart. I don't want you to misunderstand Huamin, right? Song Yisher changed the topic and began to pretend to be a good person again. After talking to Lady Qin for a while, Song Yisher turned around and left. Lady Qin watched as Song Yisher left the Li mansion. Instead of calling Huamin, she went upstairs to talk to Qin Yuman about what happened. After the incident with Qin Chu, Lady Qin seemed to have thought things through. Her only son was hanging by a thread between life and death. After going through such a dangerous situation, she seemed to have gotten over it and knew that she had something to discuss with her husband. After explaining what happened, Lady Qin asked, Dad, what do you think about this? Do you believe what Shir said? Qin Yuman didn't directly answer. Instead, he asked a question of his own. Chapter 1061. It's hard to say. I used to believe her words, but now I think Shir is too cunning. Sometimes she doesn't mean what she says. If you can think of that, it means you're smart. Qin Yuman nodded in appreciation. Dad, what do you mean? Lady Qin was slightly surprised. I don't want to talk about other things since I didn't see it with my own eyes. But you have to know that if someone says something bad about you, it might be a lie or prejudice. But when everyone doesn't like you, you have to reflect on yourself. Shershur has always emphasized that Chu and Huamin's friends don't like her and they're ganging up on her. But if so many people are ganging up on her, she must have done something wrong. We can't just listen to her one-sided story. You're right. Lady Qin seemed to understand more and more. So if you want to understand what happened, you can ask Huamin yourself or ask our son, Qin Yuman suggested. Huamin will never admit it, plus our son is biased, Lady Qin said. Look at you, you're still biased against Huamin, aren't you? No, what I meant was, I can find some time to go to South Hill Manor tomorrow. Butler Lee is an honest man, so I'm sure he knows the whole story. Mrs. Qin smiled. I think you're a sly old fox now. Smart. Qin Yuman liked his wife. She was no longer a shrew and didn't blindly believe Song Yisher's words. After leaving the Qin family, Song Yisher didn't go home. Instead, she went to a private clubhouse with her friends. Because of Song Yisher's special status, she didn't go to places like Seductive Fox or bars in public. She didn't want to be caught, so she secretly went to a private clubhouse. In order not to be found, she parked her car at the entrance of her neighborhood and called her friends to pick her up. She was very discreet. Inside a private club. In the spacious private room, there were 4 or 5 young ladies from prestigious families smoking. Everyone was accompanied by a male model. Although it was late winter, the indoor temperature was high. Therefore the male models were all topless, but it was still obvious that they had good figures. In fact, men were not the only ones who were corrupt in high society. Women were the same. Money was a good thing. You can do anything you want, Shershur. A girl stood up to greet Song Yisher and pulled her to sit down beside her. She picked up a small Russian cigar and handed it over. Song Yisher swiftly took it and lit it. Then his face turned gloomy. Pit, accompany the great beauty Shershur. The girl ordered. At this time a good-looking male model got up and walked over. However, he was rejected by Song Yisher. No need. Stay away from me. I'm upset. What's wrong? Shershur, who would dare to offend you? The girl asked with a smile. Let's not talk about it, it's annoying. Song Yisher was upset. Tell us, maybe we can help you. A few girls began to flirt with the male models in the private room. However, Song Yisher seemed to be used to this and wasn't surprised at all. I don't need you guys. If that woman pushes me too far, I'll make her disappear completely. When she thought about how Huamin made her sing Tibetan Plateau, Song Yisher felt like she was being insulted. The truth was she didn't even know that Huamin had already gone easy on her. If it were Zhu Lingling or Jiang Shaowei, they would definitely make her lick their shoes, run naked or sing Dongfang Hong in the toilet. That's why people say that people are never satisfied. Huamin's kindness sometimes became a fatal flaw. By the time the party ended, it was already 3 in the morning. Huamin kept asking them to stay, but everyone left one after another. In the end, only she and Qin Chu were left in the spacious room. Honey, did you have fun? Yeah, it was okay. Huamin nodded. Can you let me have fun too? Qin Chu asked with a smile. Chapter 1062. How do you want me to be happy? Huamin froze. He didn't know what Qin Chu was going to do. Then Qin Chu picked him up and carried him upstairs. Put me down. Ha, look at the time, aren't you going to sleep? Huamin blushed as he struggled. I'll sleep after exercising, Mr. Qin replied proudly. But we didn't have time to remove our makeup. Before Huamin could finish, Qin Chu's kiss drowned him. The vampire couple's get-up was amazing. When Huamin sent it to Jixin screamed and said that his sister was too cool. But if Mr. Qin didn't allow her to remove her makeup, did that mean that he was a heavy drinker? Huamin didn't have time to think. After Mr. Qin finished, the two of them took a hot shower and fell asleep. When Huamin was lazy, he didn't even want to take a shower, so Mr. Qin took care of everything. That was why Zhu Lingling always said that he was a good husband. After leaving South Hill Manor, everyone had mixed feelings. Mo Shuai thought that Hua Xiqian would ask her to stay the night since it was so late, but he didn't. When she realized that they were heading towards her apartment, she felt strange. Xiqian, are you going to stay at my place tonight? Mo Shuai asked uncertainly. No, Shuai. I'm a little tired, I'm going back now, Hua Xiqian said tiredly after he walked Emo Schweger downstairs. In the past, no matter how tired they were, they would still do it once before leaving. Hua Xiqian was a very lustful person. Sometimes he would do it multiple times a night, and Emo Schweger really liked that about him. He was handsome, considerate, and most importantly, he was very skilled. Even in bed, he was very considerate and gentlemanly. He would always ask Schweger which position was the most comfortable and try his best to cater to her. He didn't just do it for himself. Therefore, love aside, Hua Xiqian was really a very, very good bed partner. Putting aside the fact that he was her bedmate, she really loved him. When Emo Schweger saw that Hua Xiqian was about to leave, she kissed Hua Xiqian on the lips without hesitation. Hua Xiqian appeared very calm in the face of the sudden enthusiasm. He didn't push Emo Schweger away, but he didn't respond to her either. Emo Schweger let go of him in disappointment when he didn't respond. "Do you hate me that much?" she whispered. "Schweger, you should understand that I don't hate you. You just don't like me, right?" Emo Schweger smiled bitterly. Hua Xiqian remained silent. After being with Hua Xiqian for so long, she knew a lot of secrets, more than any other woman before Hua Xiqian. In a way, their relationship was no longer limited to bed partners. They seemed to have been upgraded to allies. "Are you still daydreaming? Do you know how ridiculous it is that you like her? Let's not talk about the fact that people won't accept your relationship. Let's talk about the fact that she has another man by her side." Emo Schweger didn't finish her sentence. Hua Xiqian roared, "Enough." Emo Schweger stopped abruptly. She was really afraid of Hua Xiqian, especially when he got angry. "Don't think that you can tell me what to do just because you know a lot of things. I told you before, there's no future between us and there's no past. You can live the life you want, but don't interfere with me. You'll never understand what I want, and I'll never be able to give you what you want." After speaking, Hua Xiqian gave Emo Schweger a hard push. Emo Schweger was caught off guard and fell to the ground. Her knees were bruised. Then Hua Xiqian drove away in his Maserati. "Hua Xiqian, you bastard." Emo Schweger sat on the ground and started crying. She liked him so much, but he liked someone who didn't even want to look him in the eye. Could it be that everyone's bones were so cheap? Gao Ran drove Zhu Lingling home very slowly, as if he didn't want her to go home so quickly. "Huh. Is this the way to my house? Why the fuck did you take a detour? Do you think you're a taxi? You don't even know the meter. What the fuck are you doing?" Zhu Lingling cursed. "Zhu Lingling, what? Do you like me?" Gao Ran suddenly asked in all seriousness. Chapter 1063. What? Zhu Lingling thought she was hallucinating, so she asked again. This was a huge blow to Gao Ran's confidence. "What did you just say?" Zhu Lingling asked again. "Nothing," Gao Ran replied, a little disappointed. "Really, I'm not kidding. What did you just say? Repeat it again." Zhu Lingling was very curious. "I can't repeat myself," Gao Ran said stubbornly. "Shut up. I don't want to hear that." Zhu Lingling angrily turned her head to the other side. She was no longer looking at Gao Ran's face. Gao Ran suddenly remembered a joke, so he told Zhu Lingling, "I once saw a joke in a book. It said that there was a prince who was cursed by a witch, so he could only speak one word a year. One day he fell in love with a princess, and in order to confess, he didn't speak for 5 years. On the 6th year he confessed to the princess that he loved her, but the princess said something that made the prince so angry that he fainted on the spot. Do you know what the princess said? She said that I don't love you, right?" Zhu Lingling turned her head and asked. Gao Ran shook his head. "Then what did the princess say?" Zhu Lingling asked curiously. Gao Ran helplessly looked at Zhu Lingling and said, "The princess only said 3 words." "What words?" The princess asked the prince. "What did you say?" After Zhu Lingling heard this, she immediately realized what was going on. She burst out laughing. "Ah! This princess is such an idiot, she actually asked him what he said. The prince didn't speak for 5 years and now it's all gone. If I were the prince, I would be so angry that I fainted too." Zhu Lingling laughed heartlessly. Gao Ran secretly looked at the side of her face. He couldn't help but have the urge to give her a wet kiss once more, but he didn't dare. He wasn't sure if Zhu Lingling had the same feelings for him. If he acted rashly and was rejected by Zhu Lingling, they would not be friends in the future. It would be very awkward when they met. Therefore, Gao Ran suppressed this thought in his heart. He drove Zhu Lingling home. Finally, they arrived at Zhu Lingling's apartment. Let me send you upstairs. It's okay. The neighborhood is safe. Just drop me off here, Zhu Lingling replied. Then you're not going to invite me upstairs for a cup of coffee or something? Gao Ran asked with a smile. Then Zhu Lingling really thought he was joking. She immediately retorted, I want to treat you to a bath. Do you want to come? Gao Ran was speechless. I'm going, bye. Zhu Lingling casually said goodbye to Gao Ran before she turned around and walked into the neighborhood. Gao Ran also turned around, feeling lonely, but the moment he turned around he suddenly heard Zhu Lingling yell from behind him, stupid cop. He subconsciously turned around. She was standing less than 5 meters away from him. Was what you said in truth or dare tonight true? Zhu Lingling yelled loudly. Yes. Gao Ran felt like his heart was beating like crazy when he said this answer. It was as nervous as if he had just confessed to her. Okay, I got it. Bye. Fuck. Zhu Lingling, stop right there. I promise I won't beat you to death. Gao Ran was furious. He rushed up to Zhu Lingling and grabbed her by the waist. What are you doing? Let go of me. Zhu Lingling struggled with all her might. How dare you trick me? I didn't. Zhu Lingling continued to pretend to be innocent. Then why did you call me? Gao Ran wasn't an idiot. He obviously didn't believe her words. Zhu Lingling suddenly turned around and wrapped her arms around Gao Ran's neck. She looked at him affectionately and said, Stupid cop, if you don't mind my foul mouth, why don't we make do? What did you say? Gao Ran pretended not to understand and asked back. Chapter 1064. Gao Ran, you bastard, are you messing with me? This time it was Zhu Lingling's turn to be angry. Haha. Gao Ran laughed maniacally, pleased with himself. She punched his broad chest with her fists. Gao Ran wasn't angry. Then he hugged Zhu Lingling and spun her around in circles. He seemed to be extremely excited. Although Zhu Lingling didn't make it clear, it was obvious that she wanted to date him. They had known each other since high school and 7 years had passed. Finally they were back to square one. Who said that Qin Chu and Hu Min were the only ones who wasted 7 years? Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were the same. Time was the best test of a person's heart. Therefore, after going through so much, they finally saw their own hearts clearly. 3:30 a.m. On a cold, snowy night, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling kissed passionately at the entrance of their neighborhood. Their passion was enough to melt the entire snowfield. Hu Min lay in bed and suddenly said, Why do I feel like Snow White's stepmother and the magic mirror are going to have a happy ending? They're going to have a happy ending sooner or later. Qin Chu supported his wife's point of view. Just then Hu Min and Qin Chu's phones rang at the same time. They opened their WeChat group and saw that Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling had posted a midnight selfie. They finally got what they wanted. Hu Min lay in bed and smiled. Seems like they got drunk again. I have to thank my 2 boxes of red wine. Qin Chu also smiled. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran had known for a long time, but they refused to admit it. Now that their relationship had come to fruition, Qin Chu and Hu Mian were sincerely happy for them. Congratulations, Hu Min sent a WeChat message. Give birth to a son soon, and you'll have plenty of children and grandchildren, Mr. Qin said. Gao Ran smiled and replied, Don't worry. When I give birth to a son and you give birth to a daughter, we'll make them brother and sister. That's right. When my family has a son and your family has a son, they can get married, Zhu Lingling added. Perfect, Gao Ran praised Zhu Lingling. Pervert. Qin Chu cursed. Goodbye. Hu Min was too lazy to care about the 2 poor dogs who had finally ended their single life, ignoring how perverted they were. The next morning, although it was Christmas, Hu Min still went to report. After his promotion he was especially busy with work. Director Li was transferred to the first hospital. Hu Min was in charge of South Side's neurology department. There were 4 doctors in the department including Hu Min. Other than her, there was also a postgraduate student who had been working for more than 2 years. He was a man named Han Chao. There was also a woman in her 30s named Wang Tsaixia. The last one was an intern named. To be honest, Hu Min thought they were average and didn't work hard enough. In comparison, the best one in the neurology department was his assistant nurse, Chen Jia. That young girl was always busy and never complained. She completed all the tasks Hu Min gave her without a word. Sometimes she even took the initiative to work overtime. Hu Min thought it was good for young people to have this awareness. Qin Jia also graduated from high school. She was only 20 years old and was a specialist. Apparently, she came from a mountainous area and came from a poor family. Therefore, she worked very hard. Even so, there were many interns at Southside every year. In the end, less than 10 could become permanent employees, so the competition was fierce. One day, when Huamin went to work in the morning, he accidentally heard a conversation between Qin Jia and the neurologist. "Little Qin, are you stupid? It's easy for you to be promoted. Your department director was right-hand man. You just have to beg her and tell her about your family background. Maybe she'll be soft-hearted and agree to recommend you. You have to know that Department Director Hua is not only the director of our department, but also the chairman of the Hua Foundation. She has a lot of power and influence in front of Director Wu." When Huamin heard this, he held his breath and listened carefully. She wanted to know what her assistant would say. Did she make the wrong choice? Chapter 1065. I don't want to give Chief Hua a hard time. I want to go through the normal process, Qin Jia said weakly. Hey, don't be silly. You'll be eliminated by the time you go through the normal process. Those girls are sending gifts to HR every day. You won't even get a chance. Do you not want to stay at Southside anymore? Of course I do, but Qin Jia seemed to be in a difficult position. Go ask Chief Hua. She'll definitely help you. No, I don't want to give Chief Hua trouble. Qin Jia shook her head and left, not wanting to continue the conversation. Huamin suddenly realized that she was so focused on work that she forgot about her subordinates. She walked into her office, typed out an application and filled it out over and over again. At noon, she called Qin Jia into her office alone. Chief Hua, you were looking for me? Although Huamin was only 4 years older than Qin Jia respected Huamin a lot. She thought that Qin Jia was the most capable and hardworking person at Southside. Just sit down. Huamin waved her hand and gestured for her to sit. This is for you. I wrote it down for you. I don't know if it's useful. Huamin handed her an application. Qin Jia was dumbfounded when she saw it. It was an application form for her to become a full-fledged doctor. Huamian had written hundreds of words of recommendation in the doctor's opinion column. They were all compliments, but they weren't exaggerated. Most of them were true. Chief, Qin Jia was flattered. Something happened to me before and I was on leave. If I didn't suddenly remember today, I would have delayed it. You've been here for half a year. You used to work under Chief Li and she always praised you. After I came to our department, you've helped me a lot. It's only right that I recommend you. Chief Hua, don't say that. I'm just doing my job. I'm not that good. It was obvious that Qin Jia wasn't being polite. Her eyes were full of sincerity. They were all intern nurses and they all had their own dreams. They didn't want to take shortcuts and they all relied on their own hard work. Huamin felt like he saw himself in her. But fortunately, he was lucky enough to be able to become an official doctor in a short period of time, take the exam and get the medical certificate. Now, she had skipped grades and become the youngest chief physician in the hospital. Huamian felt that she shouldn't be too greedy. She had gotten everything she wanted. Therefore, he was deeply aware of this hardship and wanted to give these young people a chance. Little Jia, you don't have to be afraid. I think you can do it. Although there are only a few people left in our hospital every year, I believe you will be one of them. Director I? Tell me if you have any problems. I'm your boss, so I have to take good care of you. Huamin really liked Qin Jia as his assistant. She was smart, well-behaved, and likable. She was meticulous and efficient. No, I'm fine, Director. I'm really fine. Qin Jia's family was the poorest among all the employees at Southside. However, she had never mentioned her family's condition to gain sympathy. Because she felt that it was not honorable to win that way. Therefore, she struggled to hold on. As they chatted, Huamin's phone suddenly rang. He picked up his phone and saw that it was an unknown number from Jing City. After a few rings, Huamin picked it up in confusion. Hello? Huamin. Yes, I am. I'm Feng Liqiao. A serious voice came from the other side. Hello, Director Feng. Huamin suddenly realized who it was. How's your husband? He's doing well, thank you for your concern, Director Feng. Huamin smiled. Huamin, I don't beat around the bush. I'll make it short, listen carefully. As the director of the surgery department at Military General Hospital, I sincerely invite you to join our team. Our team lacks people with courage and skills like you. Huamin held onto his phone with a shocked expression. Was Professor Feng trying to poach her? He wanted her to jump ship to Military General Hospital in Jing City. Chapter 1066. To be honest, Huamin did not expect Professor Feng to call him again. After all, Professor Feng was a person of high status. That was a military order given by Su Yu's grandfather. To be honest, Huamin did not want to have anything to do with people from the military. After all, Zizi's waters were too deep. Therefore, when Professor Feng called Huamin and said those words, Huamin was still very shocked. Professor Feng. Huamin did not know what to say for a moment. Huamin, listen to me first. I don't know if old Wu has told you that I'm no longer accepting apprentices. The old Wu that Professor Feng mentioned was none other than Wu Zhongxing, the boss of the Southern District. He did. President Wu said that you are a very prestigious and authoritative expert in our country. Don't flatter me. I've told old Wu that I won't take any more disciples, but you really shocked me. It's not like there aren't surgeries to remove a bullet near the heart in our country, and it's not like there haven't been any successful surgeries. It's just that when you performed the surgery, you were so calm and composed, and your superb skills really made me look at you in a new light. To be honest, I never dreamed that such an amazing person would appear in a small city like yours. And you're even a young girl who's not even 25 years old. I was really shocked. It's really a waste of talent for a person like you to stay in Southside in that small city. Come to the capital and be my disciple. Unpolished jade is polished after many years, and I will definitely turn you into the top internal medicine doctor in the country. Professor Feng was a very serious old man. Since he said so much at once, he must really want Huamin to go over. Professor Feng, I thank you for your recognition and affirmation. I know that there must be a lot of people who dream of being your apprentice, but Huamin paused. Is there a problem? Professor Feng asked. It's not a problem. It's just that I don't want to leave. My family and friends are here, and my husband's career is also here. I have a lot of feelings for this place. Although this is only a small city and not as big as the capital, I want to stay here for the rest of my life, Huamin said sincerely. Don't you want to pursue your dreams? Professor Feng frowned slightly, as if he was not optimistic about Huamin's future prospects. My dream is to be an outstanding doctor one day, and now I think I've done it. My other dream is to be with the person I love, and I've done it, Huamin said with a slight smile and replied to Professor Feng. But don't you have ambition? Don't you want to be better and better? Professor Feng asked, unwilling to give up. Huamin smiled again and said, Actually, I've never been a career-minded woman, and I don't have many goals. I just want to live a peaceful life. Thank you for your kindness, but I really don't want to leave here. In the end, Huamin smiled and rejected Professor Feng's invitation. You really don't want to reconsider? Professor Feng did not give up and asked again. For him, Huamin was indeed a medical genius. She was not even 25 years old, graduated from a third-rate medical school and started out as a nurse. But she was proficient in ophthalmology, brain surgery, neurology, obstetrics and gynecology, and orthopedics, and she could independently complete the most difficult internal medicine surgery. These amazing statistics really made Professor Feng, who had always been very strict, admire her very much. He even wanted to make an exception and accept her as his disciple. If it were someone else, they would probably be jumping for joy, but Huamin politely rejected him. He had to admit that she was a strange woman. I won't reconsider. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Huamin said. It's okay. Call me when you've thought it through. Professor Feng was still stubborn. Okay, Huamin smiled. After hanging up the phone, she immediately sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu. Honey, I'm going to the capital. She deliberately teased him. Chapter 1067. Jing City. Qin Chu was slightly surprised. He didn't know what Huamin was up to. Yeah, do you remember the professor from the Army General Hospital who removed the bullet from your body? Yeah, I do. Professor Feng called me today. He wants to make an exception for me and take me in as his disciple. He also wants me to go to Jing City to be an army doctor. You agreed? Qin Chu asked. Yeah, why wouldn't I accept such a great opportunity? I'm not stupid, it's not easy to be an army doctor, Huamin purposely replied in all seriousness. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Honey? Yeah. Qin Chu seemed a little depressed. Why aren't you saying anything? Are you unhappy? Huamin stuck out her tongue and asked. Oh, I don't believe you, you're definitely unhappy. I'm really not. If you want to go to Jing City then go, Chinchu said calmly. Are you serious? Huamin asked in surprise. Yeah, I'm serious. If that's your dream then go. I won't stop you. Chinchu was still calm. Then are we going to live in separate places? Huamin was a little angry. She was just trying to tease him to see his reaction, but when Mr. Qin told her to go she was unhappy. Women were strange at times. They didn't mean what they said. Even if they didn't mean what they said they just had to say it. Live in separate places? Who said that? Chinchu asked word by word. Didn't you say that you're okay with me going to Jing City? If I go and you stay here then we'll be living in separate places, right? Huamin said angrily. Did I say that I'm going to stay here? Chinchu asked in return, amused. Then you... Huamin was a little confused. In the end, what was Mr. Qin trying to say? You can go to the capital but I'll go with you, so why do we have to live apart? You're coming with me? What about GK? Huamin was surprised. To me you're the most important. Nothing is more important than you. I can leave the company at any time, but Dr. Hua, don't even think about leaving me behind for the rest of your life. Do you understand? Mr. Qin said domineeringly. Huamin's heart warmed. She knew that Mr. Qin didn't like sweet nothings. Of course he would say whatever he wanted. He never said mushy words of love, but the words he said were 100 times more touching than words of love. Huamin was slightly dazed as he held onto his phone. Honey, why aren't you saying anything? You're not really going to abandon me and go to the capital, are you? Chinchu asked again. Huamin smiled and replied, abandon you my ass, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to leave here. To me my career isn't important. A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. I don't have that many desires. I just want to be with the person I love, do the work I love and live a normal life. It's that simple. My wife seems like the type to be a good wife and mother. Chinchu smiled. I'll definitely work hard to be a good wife, but a good mother. Huamin paused as her heart ached. To be honest, Huamin was under a lot of pressure because of the baby. Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao got married not long after they met. She and Chinchu had been together for more than half a year, but nothing happened. No wonder people were gossiping. Even she was starting to doubt herself. Perhaps sensing Huamin's feelings, Chinchu comforted her. Mian, remember, I didn't marry you to carry on the family line. Whether you have a baby or not, I'll still treat you the same. Don't think too much. Honey, to be honest, you want a baby too, right? Huamin asked sadly. Chapter 1068. Before Chinchu could finish his sentence, Huamin interrupted him again. Tell me the truth. Don't mind my feelings, I just want to hear what's in your heart, Huamin emphasized again. To tell you the truth, I do, Chinchu replied word by word. Huamin's heart immediately sank. But compared to children, I care more about you. It's a shame that we don't have children, but I can't live without you. The reason I want children is because I want you to give birth to them. Mian, to be honest, sometimes I fantasize that we will have a daughter who looks like you. I'll be with her, growing up, going to school with her, being with her when she gets married. Just thinking about that makes me feel touched. But you have to know that I don't like you because of her, it's because I love you too much. That's why I want her. That's why I can't force this. I believe in fate. If I get it, I'll be lucky. If I don't, it's my fate. You're right, a man whose heart is content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. I'm already satisfied with having you in my life. As for the rest, I'll leave it to fate. After Chinchu finished speaking, Huamin was extremely touched. She rarely heard Chinchu say so much at once. For the naturally arrogant Mr. Qin, it was in his nature to be a man of few words. There was only one reason why he could suddenly become so talkative, and that was to persuade Huamin to get over it. That was the most important thing for him right now. Honey, Huamin was a little choked up. Honey, promise me, don't pressure yourself. We'll leave it to fate, okay? Chinchu's tone was extremely gentle. It was a gentleness that he only showed to Huamin. Thank you, honey, Huamin finally said. After hanging up the phone, Huamin felt a lot more relaxed. Chinchu's words touched her deeply. As the saying goes, if there's something in life, then there's bound to be something. If there's nothing, then don't force it. It seemed that children really couldn't be forced. Then, as Chinchu said, let nature take its course. Huamin helped his assistant Qinjia write an application and submit it. He received a few more patients in the afternoon. After a busy day, Huamin got off work in the evening. She was just about to call Qin Chu and ask him what he wanted to eat for dinner. Jiang Shaowei pushed open the door and walked in. "Big sister, am I seeing things? Why are you here?" Huamin looked at Jiang Shaowei in surprise. This woman was really in a rush. She didn't even inform him in advance that she was coming. She was already beyond willful. "I knew it was almost time for you to get off work, so I came directly to stop you." Jiang Shaowei smiled. "Professor Jiang, what can I do for you?" Huamin stood up, took off his clean white coat and changed into his own white cotton coat. "Come with me to look at clothes and shoes. I've been preparing for my wedding recently, so I have too many things to buy. I'm suddenly having trouble choosing, so I don't have any ideas." "That's not a problem. The problem is, do you trust my taste?" Huamin looked at her, amused. Huamin felt that her dressing was far worse than Jiang Shaowei's. Was it too stressful to be her consultant? "It's okay, I trust you." Huamin and Jiang Shaowei then drove to the most luxurious shopping mall in the city. Inside the socialite pavilion, Jiang Shaowei tried on one item after another, but she still couldn't make up her mind. Huamin gave her suggestions while sweetly texting Qin Chu on WeChat. Just then a woman walked into the socialite pavilion. Huamin looked up and was surprised when he accidentally glanced over. It was Hui Yanyan, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. Ever since Shin Jiani's accident, she didn't seem to be doing well. He heard that she liked Shin Mingxi but lost to Wei Liao's sister, Wei Ying. Hui Yanyan walked in and asked the attendant awkwardly, "Is that dress on sale?" "I'm sorry, Miss Hua, that's a new design, there's no discount." "I see." Hui Yanyan was a bit disappointed. "It's not that expensive, it's only 36,000 yuan, the attendant said. "Then, can I pay by credit card?" Hui Yanyan bit her lip and asked awkwardly. "Well, who's this? Isn't this the daughter of the Hua family? How come you have to ask for a discount and pay by credit card when buying clothes? Where's your black diamond card? Doesn't your dad love you a lot? What's wrong? Did you fall out of favor?" Inside the socialite pavilion, two young women mocked. It seemed like they knew each other. Hui Yanyan turned around and was about to leave when she heard the woman say, "You Huas are all bad, you all like to steal men. You stole Wei Ying's and that illegitimate daughter stole Shirshir's? I wonder if GK's President Qin is blind." Upon hearing this, Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Damn it, he was being ridiculed. Chapter 1069. Originally, Huamin didn't want to get involved in Hui Yanyan's business, and he definitely wouldn't do anything about it. After all, the two of them had conflicts in the past. However, not only did these two socialites go overboard, they even insulted Huamin as well. It seemed like they were Song Yisher's people. They even kept calling her Shirshir. How shameless were they? That's all they could do at this moment. Jiang Shaowei was changing in the changing room. Huamin stood up and walked over with a smile. "You're still young, don't be so impolite. You might get what you deserve." "Who are you?" Obviously, these two socialites didn't know who Huamin was. What a coincidence. "I'm from the Hua family. I'm the one that you said President Qin likes, but isn't as good as Shirshir. How dare you eavesdrop on us, how shameless." One of the women cursed. "Ah, you flatter me, I'm nowhere near as shameless as you guys. After all, people like you who gossip behind people's backs are the ones with the thickest skin." Huamin sneered as he glanced at them. "Who are you talking about, woman?" One of the women was furious. "I'm talking about you guys, so what?" Huamin looked at them provocatively. "Haha, the women of the Hua family are the poorest. Did you see that? Hui Yanyan can't even afford clothes, it's only 30,000 yuan and she's asking for a discount? What a joke. And you, I can tell that you're poor just by looking at the cheap cotton jacket you're wearing." One of the women couldn't out-talk Huamin, so she started talking about money. "Don't make it sound like you're rich." Huamin retorted. "I'm richer than you to begin with, my daddy loves me a lot," the woman said proudly. "Ahem. Let me interrupt, I want to ask if your daddy is your godfather or your biological father?" After Huamin asked this question, even the waitress couldn't help but laugh. She was really too talented. Hui Yanyan looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. She probably couldn't guess why Huamin wanted to help her. "What nonsense are you talking about? He's my biological father, he's the chairman of the Jiahe Corporation." The woman was infuriated by Huamin. "Jiahe? Wasn't that a company that started from collecting waste products and was now manufacturing steel structures? Oh, so you're a nouveau riche? Huamin lowered his head. Hearing this, Hui Yanyan couldn't help but laugh. That woman instantly felt embarrassed. Shut your mouth. The woman was flustered. There's no point in arguing. How about this? Let's play a game. Take out a card and compare the balance on the card. The winner gets to slap the loser. How about that? Huamin looked at the woman with a grin. The two women clearly didn't expect Huamin to make such a weird request, so they were slightly stunned. Then one of them whispered to the other, Lily, don't be afraid of her. Your family is so rich you have more than 10 million in your card. You'll definitely win. The woman felt that it made sense. She immediately looked up and looked at Huamin confidently. Feeling superior, she said, sure, don't cry when I hit you. Don't worry, I'm not that cowardly. Huamin was still smiling. At this moment, Hui Yanyan whispered to Huamin, she only has one daughter. Her father dotes on her a lot. She has more than 10 million in her card. Don't compare. Obviously, Hui Yanyan had good intentions. She was afraid that Huamin would lose. I'm fine. Let's wait and see. With that, Huamin waved his hand and called for an attendant. Do you have an ATM here? Huamin asked. Yes, it's at the door. The attendant pointed. Very good. Today, everyone in the store will be our witnesses. We're going to make a bet. Huamin chuckled. I'll go first. I'll make you accept your loss wholeheartedly. With that, the woman took out a supreme black card, walked over, entered the password and checked the balance. When the balance appeared, she proudly turned around and showed it to everyone. There was more than 38 million in the card. It was indeed a lot. The woman looked at Huamin with contempt. She said, Pauper, it's your turn. I heard that your father is extremely stingy. You and Hui Yanyan must be stingy people too. Huamin didn't say anything. Instead, he took out a business card and walked towards the ATM, with light steps. Chapter 1070. Huamin's movements were very slow. She elegantly inserted the card and entered the password. When the balance appeared in front of everyone's eyes, everyone was stunned. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million, 100 million? Hui Yanyan's mouth also fell open. If she wasn't wrong, Huamin's card should have a balance of 158 million yuan. To be honest, even Huamin herself was shocked. She hadn't checked her balance in a long time and didn't think it would be this much. Every month, Qinchu's finance department would transfer 1 million yuan into her account. Her salary was relatively low, around 10 or 20,000 yuan, which was nothing compared to Qinchu's. Before, when Qinchu willfully transferred her tens of millions, she thought it would be at most 70 or 80 million yuan. She didn't think it would be more than 50 million. This data was heaven-defying, completely heaven-defying. Everyone was dumbfounded. Huamin herself was a bit speechless. Impossible, she faked it. It's impossible for her to have so much. The woman obviously didn't believe her. Your IQ should be overloaded. A bank card can be faked and the balance can be faked with screenshots, but an ATM can't be faked. It's the country's most authoritative machine, okay? The woman was dumbfounded and couldn't say a word. But how do you have so much money? This doesn't make sense, another socialite clamored. Before Huamin could say anything, Jiang Shaowei came out of the fitting room. She sneered and said, I have to say, it's amazing that you can live this long with your IQ. Huamin, she's a young lady of GK, Qinchu's wife. What kind of place is GK? It's one of the biggest conglomerates in the city. Is it surprising that they have 100 million yuan? Idiot. You lost the bet. After speaking, Huamin didn't wait for anyone to react. She walked over and viciously slapped the face of the woman who made the bet with her twice. That woman was dizzy from the beating. I'll emphasize 2 points. First, don't look down on others. Second, no matter how pretty I am, Huamin, I'm still Qinchu's first wife. No matter how pretty or fairy-like someone else is, she's just a mistress who covets another woman's husband. After saying that, Huamin turned around and returned to Jiang Shaowei's side. Darling, you look good. She had just beaten someone up, but she was still able to chat and laugh with Jiang Shaowei. This was Huamin's greatest strength. She would never make a fuss over nothing. She would never make a fuss over nothing. You just wait and see. The woman who was hit cursed angrily. She then ran away. She had lost the bet, so she couldn't say anything even if she was hit. Who asked her to be so unlucky? She scolded Huamin behind his back and even used Song Yisher's name. Recently, the person that Huamin hated the most was Song Yisher. She was so obvious at the party that everyone was disgusted by her. If this woman didn't mention Song Yisher, perhaps Huamin wouldn't have dealt with her so aggressively. That's why people shouldn't be too cocky. Just then Hui Yanyan walked up to Huamin. She said in a very low voice, "Thank you for what you did." "Why are you thanking me?" Huamin looked at her strangely. "Thank you for standing up for me and not letting them give me a hard time." "Huh. Miss Hui, you're overthinking things. I didn't do it to help you. I heard her scolding me as well. Although we're not the same kind of people, at least my surname is still Hua. I'm not going to stay silent after being scolded like that," Huamin explained. Hui Yanyan lowered her head and didn't say anything. Then, without buying any clothes, she left in a hurry. Hui Yanyan's been having a hard time lately. Everyone kicks her when she's down. When she was doing well, she used to have a lot of bad friends. Now she's become like this. It's quite unbelievable. Jiang Xiaowei sighed. Every dog has its day. Every dog has its day. She used to be so cocky when she was doing well, so it's not surprising that she's like this now. However, I won't step on her again. That's not something I would do, Huamin said quietly. I know. Although Mian doesn't suck up to those in power, she won't kick someone when they're down either. Jiang Xiaowei smiled. The two of them were chatting happily when they suddenly heard a woman's voice. "Young Master Su, the clothes in this shop are so beautiful. Can you wait for me? I want to try a few outfits." Jiang Xiaowei and Huamin both looked over at the same time. They saw Su Yu and a woman walking in. Chapter 1071. It was late winter, so Su Yu was only wearing a white cotton jacket. At first glance, he matched Huamin's outfit very well, as if they were a couple. After the party, Huamin and Su Yu did not interact at all. Huamin originally thought that the next time she would see Su Yu would be at their wedding ceremony on New Year's Day. She did not expect to see him again so soon. The woman who came in with Su Yu was about 25 or 26 years old. She was wearing a white mink coat and was quite good-looking. He was at least 1.7 meters tall. The two of them walked in one after the other. The woman went straight to the clothing area, took a few pieces of clothing and went to the fitting room. As Hui Yanyan was leaving, she bumped into Su Yu at the door. If it was in the past, Hui Yanyan would have stuck on him like a dog's skin ointment. However, it was different now. After going through so much, Hui Yanyan already knew the fickleness of human nature and the fickleness of the world. In the past, when she chased after Su Yu did not even look at her. Now that she was in such a state, Su Yu would definitely not pay attention to her. Therefore, she lowered her head and quickly left the place. In reality, Su Yu never paid attention to people he did not care about. He had seen Hui Yanyan a few times, but he could not remember what she looked like. Therefore, when they brushed past each other at the door, Su Yu did not recognize Hui Yanyan either. However, he recognized Huamin from afar as soon as he entered the door. She was also wearing a white cotton jacket. Not far away, she was chatting with Jiang Xiaowei about something. She even had a smile on her face. Every time he saw Huamin smile, Su Yu would feel sweet in his heart. He did not know if this was a kind of illness. If it was the previous Su Yu, when he saw Huamin, he would definitely excitedly go up to Huamin and say, "You don't like me." This is a kind of illness that needs to be treated, definitely treated. However, it was different now. Ever since he saw that Huamin was willing to give up her life for Qin Chu, he had completely lost his confidence. However, his feelings for Huamin had never changed. He only buried the deeper feelings deep in his heart. When Su Yu came in and saw them, he smiled. Then he walked over to greet them. "You guys are here too? What's up with Lord Su? Who's that woman?" Jiang Xiaowei asked in annoyance. Su Yu's relationship with Su Yu's and Su. Is my blind date? Su Yu looked around awkwardly. It was very unnatural. He did not dare to look into Huamin's eyes. He was afraid that he would see mockery and contempt in her eyes. However, that was not the case. Huamin did not have any expectations for Su Yu. She would not casually judge him just because he was with someone. However, Jiang Xiaowei looked at him in surprise. "No way. Blind date. Was this for real? How can you be so low?" Jiang Xiaowei looked at Su Yu in confusion. "I can't help it. My grandfather asked someone to introduce her to me." Su Yu continued to feel awkward. For some reason he felt uncomfortable admitting that he was on a blind date in front of Huamin. Is it because of last time? Before Jiang Xiaowei could finish her sentence, Suyu interrupted her. Oh, it's nothing. You guys go ahead. I'll go and see her first. After speaking, Suyu turned around and left. Hippie said that he was running away. Hey, don't be late for the wedding. You're Wei Liao's best man, right? Jiang Xiaowei reminded him. I know. I'll be on time. Suyu waved his hand without looking back. After Suyu went to the other side, Huamin looked at Jiang Xiaowei and asked, slightly, Suyu's blind date. Does it have something to do with me? Why do you think so? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. In her heart she was impressed by Huamin's keen insight. Because Suyu ran away before you could finish your sentence. I'm guessing he's trying to escape from something. Huamin guessed. Then he doesn't want you to know. You don't have to ask. Jiang Xiaowei took her clothes and walked to the bar with Huamin. Wrap all of these up. The waitress immediately nodded. But I want to know what happened. Tell me just slightly. You know, I don't want to owe Suyu anymore. Huamin said slowly and sadly. Why don't you want to owe him? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin. Her eyes flashed slightly. Chapter 1072. Because I'll never be able to repay what I owe him. Huamin said in a low voice. She was different from Qinchu. She had chosen Qinchu to be her life partner, so she could repay whatever Qinchu did for her. However, Xi was different. No matter how much he had done for her, there was no way she could repay him. She would never be able to repay what she owed him. This was what Huamin was most worried about. Jiang Xiaowei looked at her and felt that what she said made sense. Tell me or else I'll feel even more uneasy. Huamin insisted again and again. Jiang Xiaowei was silent for a moment before she slowly said, at that time, Suyu negotiated with his grandfather in order to get a military doctor for you. You know that military doctors can't be used at will. Even if it's the head of a military region, he has to have a transfer order. Suyu was so willful that Master Lord Su was furious. The grandfather and grandson had a big argument. In the end, Suyu compromised and Master Lord Su finally sent the best military doctor. However, Suyu agreed to his grandfather's request for a blind date. You know how he is, so it really made things difficult for him. Jiang Xiaowei actually didn't like Suyu at all in the past. She felt that he was a playboy who always had feelings for women. She guessed that he was only interested in Huamin for a while. After the novelty wore off, he wouldn't be like that anymore. However, after she got together with Wei Liao, she knew more about the inside story. Suyu's feelings for Huamin were not as simple as just liking her. Just like what he said before, liking someone was unbridled while love was restrained. Suyu was now trying her best to restrain herself so as not to cause trouble for Huamin. Her overt adoration had already turned into a silent one-sided love. With Suyu's identity, it was still very shocking to do such a thing. Wei Liao once told her that Suyu was actually a very sentimental person. He was unwilling to change the nanny at home and he kept the pets until they died. He even kept the phones that he used. The more time passed, the more reluctant he was to part with them and the more sentimental he became. Therefore, once she set her heart on Huamin, she would probably be stubborn for the rest of her life. At first, Jiang Xiaowei didn't believe it. She thought that Wei Liao was still praising Suyu because they were buddies. He was still watching. That was really the case. After listening to Jiang Xiaowei's words, Huamin's heart sank. Sure enough, he owed Suyu another favor. Back then she returned the bullet to Suyu with a heart of death. However, she didn't expect that after waking up, Suyu would put it back by her pillow. So that's how it is. It really has something to do with me, Huamin said faintly. Don't feel too burdened. We all know how he feels about you. He still doesn't want to see anything happen to you. It's understandable, Jiang Xiaowei comforted. Huamin didn't say anything else as he left Socialite House with Jiang Xiaowei. Remember to come early for the wedding. You were supposed to be the bridesmaid, but Suyu is the best man and I was afraid that Qinchu would think too much, so I didn't want you to be the bridesmaid. I don't have any good friends, so I asked Lingling to be the bridesmaid, Jiang Xiaowei explained. You don't have to say much, I understand. Huamin and Xiaowei had a tacit understanding. She didn't want to be the bridesmaid and didn't want to have too much interaction with Suyu. It was right not to share the same stage. That was the plan from the beginning. However, who knew that the plan wouldn't change so quickly? On the morning of New Year's Day, Qin Chu didn't go to the wedding because he wanted to prepare for the staff meeting. Instead, he asked Huamin to bring his blessings to Jiang Shaowei. Seeing that Qin Chu said this, Huamin didn't try to persuade him. Because Qin Chu, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan weren't on the same side. However, Gao Ran was different. He was the one who introduced Huamin and Jiang Shaowei to each other. Therefore, Gao Ran drove Zhu Lingling over early in the morning. Zhu Lingling wore a bridesmaid dress, which was a rare sight. It was a tube top and a white veil. Gao Ran looked at her with a smile. I didn't expect you to look so good in a white veil. I look good in many ways. Zhu Lingling replied proudly and prepared to get out of the car. Suddenly, her expression changed and she shouted, "Oh my God, no way, what's wrong?" Seeing that Zhu Lingling's body stiffened, Gao Ran asked anxiously. Chapter 1073. Zhu Lingling didn't expect something like this to happen on such an important day, especially in front of Gao Ran. It was so embarrassing. What's wrong? Gao Ran was worried sick. She didn't want to tell him, so he was worried sick. Zhu Lingling raised her hand and looked at Gao Ran. Her face was red as she slowly said, My period came. Gao Ran was speechless when he saw her crying face. Gao Ran didn't know what to say. Was there anything scarier than a girl having her period? So, what should I do now? Gao Ran asked dumbly. Zhu Lingling was so embarrassed. She remembered that her period was supposed to come around the 5th. Why did it come 5 days early? It was killing her. Can you help me buy that? Zhu Lingling wanted to dig a hole in the ground to hide after she said that. That supermarket sells it, right? Gao Ran was still confused. Zhu Lingling nodded shyly. Gao Ran immediately parked his car next to the supermarket and got out of the car sneakily. As a police officer, he was never this scared, even when he was arresting criminals. However, he was terrified this time. What do you want to buy? The supermarket girl looked at Gao Ran sneakily. Her attitude was very bad. They sell it, right? Gao Ran said in a low voice. Which one? The girl was a bit impatient. The one that women use. Gao Ran lowered his head. It's on the last shelf. See for yourself. When Gao Ran came back, Zhu Lingling's face was already very pale. Are you okay? Gao Ran asked worriedly. Every time my period comes, it hurts like hell, just like Huamin. Both of us used to like to eat cold food, so now we're suffering 7 days a month. I'm really going to die. Zhu Lingling covered her stomach with both hands, looking like she was in great pain. Then what should we do? Gao Ran was a little confused. He didn't know how to help her. Let's go to the hotel first. I'm going to change into a dress. This is definitely dirty. Zhu Lingling said dejectedly. Gao Ran nodded and got in the car. Jiang Shaowei's wedding was held at the 5-star Wanjing International Hotel. Because the hotel was owned by the Wei family, it didn't cost any money. Wei Liao's family was quite influential in the city. As a young tycoon, Wei Liao was as famous as Su Yu and the others. They were ranked as one of the 4 young masters, so the scene would definitely be very grand. Zhu Lingling was very happy that Jiang Shaowei invited her. She and Jiang Shaowei met through Huamin. Although they hadn't been suffering from insomnia for long, it was rare for them to get along. Therefore, she specially prepared a bridesmaid dress for herself. Unfortunately, it was dirted by the surprise attack of Ant Flo. In short, she was in a very bad mood. After arriving at the hotel, Zhu Lingling rushed to the bathroom to change. He waited for a long time, but she still didn't come out. Gao Ran was so anxious that he wanted to rush into the ladies' room. Luckily, just as Gao Ran was about to take action, Zhu Lingling walked out shakily. She looked terrible. You look very serious. Gao Ran looked at her. Nonsense, if you were bleeding so much, you would be in serious condition too, Zhu Lingling retorted worriedly. Then what should we do? The ceremony is about to start. Gao Ran looked at his watch and was a little troubled. I don't think I can make it. The dress is too small and the skirt is too short. What if I leak when I'm bleeding so badly? Plus, our custom here is that if someone's on their period can't be a bridesmaid, it's bad luck. Wouldn't I be putting Shaowei in a bad spot? Zhu Lingling looked worried. How about, you let Huamin take your place? Gao Ran suddenly said. Zhu Lingling raised her head and looked at Gao Ran with a complicated expression. Chapter 1074. Will it work? Zhu Lingling didn't seem to think that this was a good idea. Other than Huamin, there's no one else. As far as I know, Jiang Xiaowei only has you two as her friends, and only you two are familiar with the international process. If it's a stranger now, it might mess up, Gao Ran analyzed calmly. But Suyu is the groom. Xiaowei only asked me to avoid suspicion, Zhu Lingling reminded him. She's just worried that Qin Chu will be angry. That's fine, we can tell Qin Chu. The point is, you definitely can't be the bridesmaid. We can't interfere with their wedding. Hearing Gao Ran's words, Zhu Lingling felt that it made sense. In the end, she could only nod and agree. When they found Huamin, it was almost 9 p.m. The ceremony started at 9:30 p.m. and time was tight. Huamin was easy to talk to, and after understanding the situation, he agreed immediately. Gao Ran was worried that Qin Chu would think too much, so he specially called Qin Chu. In fact, although Qin Chu was jealous and cared about Huamin, he wasn't unreasonable. No one could predict this kind of thing, so Qin Chu agreed on the spot without hesitation. Zhu Lingling washed the dirty corner of the gown and handed it to Huamin. Needless to say, Huamin looked really beautiful in the white gown. First of all, she was very thin and had a good waist. Second of all, she was very white, so she looked even more beautiful in the white gown. Her hair was casually draped over her shoulders and curled up naturally. Her face was very light nude makeup. When Huamin walked into the VIP lounge in the white gown, inside, Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao and Suyu were all dumbfounded. Mian, why are you here? This was the place where the groomsmen and bridesmaids discussed the wedding. So when he saw Huamin, he was naturally very surprised. Especially Suyu, it was the first time he saw Huamin wearing a white veil. He felt like he was dreaming. Seeing Huamin walking towards him in her white veil, Suyu felt his heartbeat quicken and his breathing quicken. He just stared blankly at Huamin. Lingling's situation is special, so she can't be the bridesmaid. I'll do it, Huamin explained with a smile. So sudden. But it's starting in half an hour. Wei Liao was still worried. It's okay. He told me the process. I won't mess it up. Huamin looked at Xiaowei and Wei Liao, full of confidence. Yes, I believe you. Xiaowei was very happy to have Huamin as her bridesmaid. Then she asked, where's Qin Chu? He didn't come. He's very busy at work, so my family sent me to represent. Huamin continued to chuckle. Oh. Jiang Xiaowei finally relaxed. Okay then, we'll go up as soon as the ceremony starts. Thank you for your hard work. Jiang Xiaowei intimately held onto Huamin's hand. Wei Liao turned around and saw that Suyu was still staring straight at Huamin. So he coughed softly and said, Lord Su, are you awake? What did you say? Suyu finally came back to his senses. I said, are you awake? Wei Liao laughed. I didn't sleep at all. Don't tease me, okay? Suyu could tell that Wei Liao was teasing him and immediately retorted. Then I'll have to trouble the two of you. There's still 15 minutes left. Go touch up your makeup a little. I'll go check on the MC. After speaking, Wei Liao held onto Jiang Xiaowei's hand and left the waiting room. Only Huamin and Suyu were left in the room. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. This is the first time I've seen you wear a white dress. Suyu looked up at Huamin and said in a serious tone. This is Lingling's dress. It doesn't fit me very well, Huamin replied with his head lowered. No, it's super beautiful, Suyu said anxiously. Then he realized that he was speaking the wrong way and immediately corrected himself. You look good in it too, huh? He turned his head away, not daring to look into Huamin's eyes. Suyu. Huamin gently called out his name. He suddenly felt that this was the most gentle voice in the world. Yes. He looked up. I'm especially grateful for the military doctor. You've had to go through a lot to help me. Huamin respectfully bowed to Suyu after he finished speaking. He looked especially formal. With this, Suyu started to panic. You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.